Welcome, Payday Parlay listeners, for another great weekend ahead of us. This is your host, Zane, always joined alongside your co-host of the show, Matthew Hart. And we have a very special episode for you this weekend. Joined by us this weekend, we have Justus Houston, JBoss, many people know him as, joining the show. Justus, welcome. How are you?
Great, man. Finally enjoying some sports betting here in the state of Virginia. Lost some money, won some money. You know how it goes.
The game's cruel.
It's
the
cruel.
Ups and downs. Justus, what got you into it, man? What got you hooked when the introduction came out that Virginia was opening up sports betting online?
I mean, I was like everybody else. It came out right around the same time as the Super Bowl. So I was just going through there, seeing all the little crazy parlays that I could make. There was 2 parlays that I made that I could have won like $2,000 off a $5 bet. Obviously, none of those were even close, but I did win some money on like a stat parlay. I think with there was one for Antonio Brown scoring. And then I had a couple other players that needed to score. Then also won some money on the coin toss and the opening kickoff play that they were doing. I did end up losing a lot more money than I thought I would, but I've grown from that, learned a little bit, and made all of it back and then some now. So we're moving in the right direction.
You're in the green. That's all that matters.
That is all that matters.
We like to call those bets that the would-have, should-have, could-haves there that really didn't have a chance from the get-go. Matt has coined the term his no-way parlays. So welcome to the club, playing some no-way parlays with us.
You know how many no-way parlays I've hit so far? None. That's why they're called no-way parlays.
That's why the name still holds, because if he hits one, we have to change the name.
Oh, man.
So for like our listeners, because you're a good friend of ours, why don't you just tell them a little bit about yourself and like your athletic background, because people don't know Justus is actually a former college football player.
Very former. I went after high school. I mean, obviously I played all 4 years in high school, played offensive line, defensive line. I went to a prep school here in Virginia called Fork Union Military Academy, and I got the chance to play with a lot of really great athletes. I played with a couple guys that are actually still playing in the league right now. Shout out to Derek Rivers. I'm pretty sure he's still on the Patriots roster. And a few other guys that got drafted and playing, high-level D1 football. And then after that, I ended up getting a scholarship offer to Glenville State College. It's a smaller D2 college in West Virginia. Played 3 years there. And then I graduated there with a marketing degree, and now I am the sales manager here at the local Ashley Home Store here in Westville.
Big money moves. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. Just out here getting old, working my life away.
But you also drag race now too, though, don't you?
Yeah, I dabble in it. My dad has drag raced for years, and I kind of, followed in his footsteps getting in it. We both have matching 1972 Novas with small block Chevys in it. He runs in a stick shift class. I run in an automatic class, basically just like a small tire street class. But it's a lot of fun, man. It's addictive. It's something to get that competitive outlet out,
I hear you. That's why I try to do the sports gambling, because I'm still pretty competitive myself, even though
then you're competing against Vegas, and Vegas always wins.
That they do.
Time travelers.
Let's get into your picks then, Justus. Didn't you win some last night?
I hit on a 2-team parlay. I picked Eastern Kentucky and Southern Illinois to cover. I hit on both of those, and also hit the ever faithful 3x2 3-point boost that FanDuel so kindly offers up to us. I want to say I bet 5 of those, and I've won 4 out of 5. So that's probably been one of my biggest winners on FanDuel.
Free money. I eat them up every time I
Exactly.
see those bets come out. And we always like to hear about some mid-major basketball here at Payday Parlays. Tonight is filled with it. There's not any NBA. They're on All-Star break for this weekend. So a lot of mid-major college basketball tournaments happening this weekend. You guys got any picks for the night?
So my pick, just because I like the name, I'm in no way a college basketball expert. I'm not really a basketball follower at all, other than my Hokies. Dixie State plus 13 tonight. That would be a good pick for me tonight. I'm just gut feeling.
Is that a community college?
It might be. I did look them up. They're located in Utah. They're not in any southern state. They're in Utah.
That makes sense.
So much sense.
I like it. There's some nice late night basketball going on tonight. Missouri State Bears. Like them. Good. I think they're a solid pick. Take them on the points -7. I think that game may have just tipped off a few minutes ago. So yeah, I like them tonight. Missouri State -7 there. I think that's a safe play. And then looking ahead to tomorrow, Chattanooga versus ETSU. SoCon tourney. You got to go with ETSU. They're a +1 underdog, if you want to call it. It's kind of even, right? +1 underdog. SoCon quarterfinals there. Go with the ETSU Bucks there. Right up the road from Bristol, so we'll go with the home team.
I'm not touching college basketball until the tournament. I said that last time because I've lost so much money on college basketball. Me and Duke, we have an argument. Justice, I said Duke sucked, and then Jalen Johnson quit, and I'm like, well, they're good now because Jalen Johnson, for some reason, they're winning. And then as soon as I said that, they lose to Louisville. It was an overtime, but and I bet it on them, so I'm just mad at college basketball right now.
Sports betting is so cruel, man. So cruel.
Justice, being a former D2 college football player, right now we have some FCS, some D1 AA football action happening for some springtime football. I think they're in their 4th week of the season. Any chance you've taken a look at any of those plays for a college football slate tomorrow?
I have. And it sickens me that we can't, here in Virginia, can't bet on JMU. They are an absolute wagon. They've got a 6'3", 220-pound quarterback with a really strong arm. He sat behind Ben DiNucci and was patient for 3 years. Ben DiNucci, obviously, is on the Cowboys roster now. And they have a wall for an offensive line. I want to say they're averaging 6'2", 6'3", 320 across the board. So they will be, if you're looking at futures, I think they would be a good pick to win the national championship. Obviously, North Dakota State, they're a powerhouse in FCS, but without Trey Lance, I think they're going to be inconsistent this year. They did drop an ugly win. They did drop an ugly game last week, but if you're looking for a lock for FCS, I would pick North Dakota State to cover their next game. When you have a powerhouse like that, you got to look for them to bounce back after a tough loss, especially against a team that they should definitely beat. So I look for them to cover against Missouri State this weekend.
Speaking of North Dakota State, just because we're all Hokie fans here, do we see Quincy Patterson ever being one of the next great North Dakota State quarterbacks out of there?
Look out for him next year. That school pumps out good quarterbacks like I've never seen. I don't know what they're putting in the water up there, but I think they will get Quincy Patterson right in their offense, and I think he will be drafted in the first round.
Drafted in the first round.
Hot take.
Clip
it. It's a little spicy.
He's obviously got to sit out this year, but I look for him to be their starter next year.
What do you think about his throwing mechanics and stuff? Do you think they'll be able to fix that?
It's not really his throwing mechanics that need work. It's just his decision making and reading the defense. He's to go through his progressions. It's not something that they ever challenged him with. And that's a problem with Virginia Tech's offense in general. They don't challenge their quarterbacks to go through their progressions. It's a one-read, smoke and mirrors offense, and it's really not the type of offense that you can develop a great quarterback in. North Dakota State, I think, is the opposite.
I like the takes there. I like the analysis. FCS football, I'll take one shot at it. Did a little homework leading up to tonight. Samford Bulldogs as away physical puppy dogs tomorrow. Nice line, plus 290 against Furman. Bulldogs coming off a big win against Western Carolina last week, put up a ton of points, 55 points. And you have Furman coming off a 1-point loss to VMI. These are two teams, strong defenses. I think if you want to take Samford on the points, plus 9.5, I like that one too. I'm going to take it a step further and say that Samford takes the upset tomorrow against Furman at plus 290. And you got a great quarterback there with Liam Welch. Liam Welch put up big numbers last week. Keep an eye on him for a nice, strong FCS quarterback development through the next couple weeks. So Samford Bulldogs as the puppy dogs tomorrow against Furman, plus 290.
I like it.
I like it too, and you sound like you did a lot of research there, Zane. It sounds like you really know what you're talking about. So
Zane's
I make this bet tomorrow. I better not be disappointed.
You're probably going to miss it. I mean, plus 290. If I lose, I lose. But at least it sounded good for a clip.
I liked it. But I don't know much about FCS football, and I said I'm going to stay away from college basketball, but there's a big soccer match this weekend. And we were talking a little bit before we started recording. Justus is a Man City fan. I'm a Man United fan. This weekend is the Manchester Derby. Big matchup. How do you see that going, Zane or Justus?
So, I mean, you could say I'm a Man City fan. My soccer fandom only goes as far as the teams that I like to play with on the early FIFA games. So, yeah, I guess you could say I'm a Man City fan, so go City.
I wouldn't touch it, to be honest, with betting wise, because I don't know you never know what's going to happen in a rivalry game. And I bet with my heart when it comes with Manchester United, and I do not know if they can pull this one off.
I mean, it's a battle at the top two of the table, but let's be honest, this EPL season, it's a one-man race. It's Man City, everybody else. Man U trying to hold on to the second position. Man U is big underdogs. I mean, the value's there if you want to take a chance. I mean, the averages could be there too if you think Man City at some point has to draw or has to lose with the run they've been on. So value's there for Man U maybe to be that team that forces them into a draw, which hasn't happened in a while either. So that's something to look at, maybe like a double chance play on Man U tomorrow. Take the draw and the win.
Yeah, that would probably be a good play because we've been talking ad nauseum about how Manchester United keeps bottling up these big games and just playing for draws against big teams. That's all they want to do. Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City earlier just play to an 0-0 draw and be fine with that. So it could be something that happens.
Yeah,
That's my favorite thing about footy plays is the option to do a double chance. I don't know what it is about these communist kickball players, but they love the tie.
I like the three-way no push as well. You get a spread basically. It's basically betting on a spread, but there's also the option of a draw, and it's kind of fun to bet. Yeah, so say Manchester, I don't know what the odds are right now off the top of my head. Say if Man City's favored by a goal, you could, if you think Man City's going to win by a goal, you would play the draw there, and the odds are better than just picking on the money line.
Just to give you a quick update on the odds of that game, double chance on Manchester United, so taking Man U and the draws, plus 165. If you're taking Man U money line, plus 600. Or if you take a draw no bet, plus 470 Manchester United draw no bet. So if it's a draw, you get your money back. Take Manchester United on the money line there, plus 470 with the draw no bet play.
Good value.
Yeah, I mean, really good value on Man U, especially with their record. I mean, they have had 5 draws to this point against top tier
Big
opponents in
six,
EPL.
yeah.
6, make it 6 now. So 6 draws.
No,
2
the
losses.
big six. Sorry.
Oh, big 6. I'm sorry. I thought you said 6 draws. Sorry. You have
Really?
5 draws against the top 6 opponents. That's a good bet. I mean, what if you just take, for example, moneyline Man U is plus 600. The draw play for this game, if you just take the draw in this game, plus 350.
You could hedge too. How much? Like, I wonder. Just thinking about that, like money wise, would it be better to hedge instead of to bet Manchester United or the draw?
Yeah, I mean, not a bad idea to think about.
Unless Man City's going to really win, but
run away with it
for value wise.
I mean, value-wise, if you're going Man U and leaning Man U, you could hedge that bet and play it that way instead of just a straight double chance. But Arsenal and Burnley play early morning. By the time this uploads, we'll probably know the result. But Arsenal, you never know which team's going to show up. It's the type of game for Arsenal that they could just be flat. I mean, honestly, I'm actually concerned about it. Kind of concerned about it, even though Arsenal's a pretty steady favorite there.
I was reading about that just before I got on this call. People are not happy with Arsenal. Not happy.
Yeah, we never are.
And never. That is true. They always are mad about something.
We always got a problem.
Troops for Barstool Sports. But he's the big Arsenal fan. He's always so angry. Bringing it back to what we were talking about last time, Zane, not to continue to like harp on your favorite teams, because I'm also a Virginia Tech fan, but isn't it similar? The situation that Arsenal find themselves in is similar to the situation that Virginia Tech finds them in. A legend at the club at Virginia Tech, Frank Beamer, Arsene Wenger, held on just a little too long.
Yeah, I second that as a Gooner supporter there. Definitely down the stretch of Wenger's final few seasons as manager, was really hoping that he would maybe just step aside for the benefit of the club, and it kind of ended on a bad, relatively kind of poor note for him as a manager. So yeah, I would make that comparison, and just to second that, I think this is probably the only podcast you'll get where you'll get a comparison of a college football coach to an EPL manager and put them in the same wheelhouse together. I don't think you're going to hear that too many other places.
Hey, yeah, and it makes it well-rounded because they're all Virginia Tech fans. And Justus, did Frank Beamer not hold on too long?
3 years. Just 3 years long.
It hurt recruiting, too.
Oh.
But comparing college football to soccer, it's the same thing. Recruiting and wanting to get big free agent signings, because soccer's, there's different.
Ever changing.
Mm-hmm.
The landscape is ever changing in soccer, and the players that you can bring in constantly and development of that.
Yeah, and everyone knows their contracts are just made up anyway. Like they could be on contract to 2024 and they'll be like, well, this summer I'm leaving to go to.
Speaking of big contracts, we saw the young American for Aventus sign his contract deal this week, which is cool, through 2025.
Weston McKinney, Juve.
Yeah.
Which there was no surprise with them picking up that option. Have you seen anything about that, Justus? Have you seen any highlights of Weston McKinney?
Actually haven't. I'm still stuck on Christian Pulisic. I mean, if y'all catch me up on some of the big-time American players that are playing in EPL, I'd love to hear about that because
So Weston McKinney, he's playing in the Serie A, and he was playing for a German club, Schalke, who isn't that good. And when COVID hit, they needed to loan out. So in soccer, you can loan players where a bigger club will pay you money. Yep. And so they had paid for Weston McKinney to come at Juventus, which is the club that Cristiano Ronaldo plays for. It's in Italy. And they paid for Weston McKinney kind of just to see how he would do and come in, and he's just hit the ground running. He's a star. He's probably their best midfielder, and so they picked up his option this past week to buy. So they had an option to buy. So if they liked how his production was, they would buy him from Schalke. So they just picked up his option, and so now he'll be playing with Cristiano Ronaldo for a little bit longer.
And I love stories like that where you have a player that just gets an opportunity and just runs with it. I mean, so something that you can kind of compare to that is Taylor Heineke, the quarterback for the Washington football team, that got his shot in the last 2 games of the season and made the absolute best of him. So now they've signed him to a 2-year contract. and he'll have a chance to compete for a starting spot this season.
Old Dominion product.
Yep.
ODU, local there.
And one of their, I don't know if it was a playoff game, but I think they were playing one of their rivals, put up 713 passing yards in that game. The dude can sling it.
He played for Carolina as well for Ron Rivera, right?
He did. He backed up.
Yeah, I remember him. He came on then, and he didn't do too bad. And I think he played the Falcons. That's why I remember him. It's the last week of the season. It's exactly why I remember who
won that?
Oh, the Falcons always win a meaningless game against Carolina at the end of the season.
It's a given. That's a lock.
They will win that game because it doesn't matter, and we needed a better draft position, so they'll win it.
Okay, I feel your pain.
Speaking of the draft, and you're a big Washington supporter, what do you think they're going to do? Like, how do you what does your team need, and how are they going to? How do you think they're going to structure their picks and everything?
So the biggest need is obviously going to be quarterback.
You just said Taylor Heineke. I'm just
saying what? No, I mean Taylor Heineke. In a perfect world, I'd love to see him get an opportunity to start, but I want the sure thing. Okay, Taylor Heineke's still a toss-up. But quarterback's going to be the biggest need. I don't think we'll be able to address that in free agency because I think they're going to want a stud, not just a stopgap. So right now, some of our options are Marcus Mariota, Derek Carr is still on the table, Sam Darnold's on the table. Dak could still be on the table. I think there's still a chance that he might not re-sign with Dallas. That's my hope. And then our other biggest need, in my opinion, is going to be wide receiver. We need somebody to complement Terry McLaurin. The dude is a stud, but he just gets bracketed in cloud coverage every single game. So we need somebody to take some of the pressure off him. I would like to see them sign Allen Robinson and then honestly draft, if we could, draft Kyle Pitts. I don't think he'll drop to 19, but if we can't get him, I think Rashad Bateman would be a good option. But then they could also go for a stud linebacker. We really need a linebacker to kind of shore up the middle of that defense. And there's also safety, left tackle. But right now, our two biggest needs, in my opinion, are quarterback and wide receiver.
You don't think you can get in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes?
No, absolutely not. 0% chance.
What about the drama starting to get stirred up in Seattle there around Russell Wilson?
What about
a lot of noise.
He's from Richmond.
So
he's from Richmond.
Washington's definitely made calls, but Russell Wilson has a no trade clause, and he's already put out his top picks for destinations. You've got the Raiders, the Bears, the Cowboys, and I think the Niners. I could be wrong about that, but I'm sure about the first few. So I don't think Russell Wilson wants to come to Washington. We still have to kind of prove ourselves as a
desirable place
to be, as a competent organization. I think they did a good job of kind of making that statement last season, but we still have a little ways to go.
We'll continue to speak about the draft. Me and Zane were big Falcons fans, so I got a question to pose to both of you. Do the Falcons draft a quarterback? Do they find Matt Ryan's replacement to sign 100? Do they continue with this new coaching staff and try to see Matt Ryan's career through?
Where are they
drafting?
35,
36.
Where are they
drafting? 4th.
I think they take a quarterback, but you're in a position where you don't have to put him in right away. You can still play Matt Ryan for 2 more years, or maybe even 1 more year, let the new guy sit, and continue to build up that defense. I think defense and your running game, I don't really know much about your offensive line. I know you've got a pretty good left tackle, but I think you guys need help running the football, and you definitely need help on defense.
And Alex Mack's starting to get old, but I disagree with Matt Ryan not starting. I'm about to get your take on it, Zane, but I'll tell you I disagree. They brought in Arthur Smith, who runs the same offensive system as Kyle Shanahan. That's when Matt Ryan won the MVP. They brought him in, and he just revitalized Brian Tannehill's career in Tennessee. So I think that's went into their thinking when they were bringing in a new coach. But yeah, Zane, I want to hear your opinion on it.
Yeah, I think they do. I think the overall goal is to bring in that style offense to hopefully dig deep and touch base with that Matt Ryan of the Super Bowl run, which led to a dismal blowout there, blown lead. But well, I hate revisiting that talk.
We won't even go there, man.
Yeah, we don't need to go there. It's a very sad, dark day.
I think that I agree with Matt that I don't think Matt Ryan's career is over by any means, but a good organization will start to prepare for the future. And I think you guys have a decent organization, and the thing that really stands out to me is you've got Justin Fields, who I think will be there when you guys pick. He's from Georgia. You know how your owner loves the Georgia boys. I mean, look how he drafted Michael Vick. So I think he's going to kind of have a hand in drafting Justin Fields. What's your cap space like? I think that's a big thing.
Tied up in Matt Ryan.
Yeah, it's tied up in Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, but they're not going to move them. They've already said they're not going to move them. And I'm not sure if they even will draft a quarterback because there's just so much that they do need that before you even bring a young quarterback in, he's not going to be able to be successful because the defense is – I think when you bring a young quarterback in, you need a good defense so your offense can kind of just be so-so and you work through the motions and get going. The Falcons are not that. I think we all know that they are not a good defense. And to your point about them being a good organization, I don't think they were ever a good organization until Matt Ryan got there and brought stability and wins because he went to the playoffs his first year as a rookie, and then they started. To me, I don't see the Falcons actually as a good organization. I'm almost
with your cap space and everything, if that's the case, I wouldn't be surprised if you guys trade down, and it'll be interesting to see who trades up to that spot because I believe it'll be somebody that needs a quarterback or possibly a wide receiver.
My biggest thing is I was sad to see that the release of Kurt Benkert. Obviously, we don't have Matt Schaub anymore. Retires.
Gotta have those UVA quarterbacks, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think he showed promise to sit behind Matt Ryan. I honestly was hoping going into the season that he would be the second. He would be the second there, so we wouldn't have to worry about necessarily a draft for a QB this year. But now at this point, you have to go out and find somebody to be a backup. So they're going to have to make a move on the depth chart at quarterback.
I mean, they'll have to get a quarterback at some point. I just don't think it's this year. You know, my opinion, but it could be.
Yeah, on from Matt Ryan as soon as possible. But this is just my personal feeling because I think this is just theory. I think that when Matt Ryan was at Boston College, he sold his soul to Satan to beat Tech in the ACC championship that year. That's why I think he's having so many struggles in his career.
God definitely hates him. 28-3. I hate to bring it back up. He definitely hates.
Jesus lays awake at night, thinks about ways he can ruin Matt Ryan's day.
So you would like to say that Matt Ryan traded a Super Bowl win to beat the Hokies? Is that
in Blacksburg on Thursday night?
I don't think he ever really knew what he was. I mean, he was a young college kid. You know, he knew it was a big game. I don't think he really knew what was at stake.
I can't wait to clip this and put this on YouTube. Title: Did Matt Ryan sell his soul
to Satan?
I've said this for like 2 years now. I honestly believe that's what happened.
I mean, you got to think of Matt Ryan, the rainy night, Thursday night in Blacksburg. There, the Hokies controlled the whole game in a defensive battle, and just the last second Hail Mary.
Not to harp on Frank Beamer again, but that was his fault. Do you remember the fake field goal punt thing?
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you remember, Justus, but they got into where it'd be really long field goal range, but it was rainy and windy. No one believed they were going for a field goal, and they hiked it right straight to the kicker, and he punted it, but he was a kicker, not a punter, so the punt was awful, and that gave the Boston College where they did not have to drive the entire field. Like, we could have just lined up in a regular punt and pinned them back.
Yep, just pin them back. Just be smart. Pin them back. Nobody thought they were going to kick.
And who was the special teams coach? So that's why I can specifically say it was Frank Beamer's fault.
You're allowed to pin that one on him.
Oh yeah,
Many moons ago, though. That was a long time ago. And that game is so impressionable that we can still remember those details.
The reason it hurts because if Virginia Tech won that game, that was the crazy college football year where they could have gotten in the national title game. It was 07.
I remember that.
LSU lost twice and won the national championship. Even though Tech did go early in LSU that year, or at LSU, and just got destroyed. Memory lane.
Danny Cole caught that ball.
Yes, he did. And I think Zane, I thought you were frozen for a second there, Zane. Sorry, but yeah, Danny Cole did catch that ball.
Gosh, it is hard. So we're all Tech fans, and you guys are both Falcons fans, and I'm a Washington fan. Well, why did we choose this path? What
led us down this road?
Of constant pain and disappointment.
I think it's a geographic thing.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because like Atlanta's not, even though it's about the same distance from DC to where we're from to Atlanta.
Yeah.
It's almost similar. And then, I'm not going to pick the Panthers. And also Michael Vick went to the Falcons.
A lot of Hokies. The reason I was a Falcons fan is because a lot of Hokies were going to play for the Falcons. You think of Mike Vick, obviously the staple at that point, but D'Angelo Hall, and of course living 35 minutes from Blacksburg, I was following Hokie football at a young age. And then to see those guys in the NFL and developing, a lot of them were playing for the Falcons, so that's what stuck.
So was actually on the Falcons roster too for a little bit. He actually backed up Michael Vick, I think. I don't know for how long, but I'm pretty sure.
Yep, he was.
Yeah. I watched the preseason game years ago, and he was a starting quarterback for that game.
Speaking of like Falcons drafting Hokies players, I did see a mock draft where the Falcons did trade back and they took Caleb Farley, which they do need a corner.
That'd be smart.
Which just sucks because it's terrible to say we need a corner when this would be the third draft in a row that we're drafting a corner.
Interesting. The Hokies will most likely have 2 players go in the first round this year.
I think so. Christian Darrisaw and Caleb Farley.
Yep. I think Devon Diablo will probably – I think he could go in the 4th or 5th round.
Yeah, he's going to, even though I don't know if this is a fair comp, even though because he went to Virginia Tech, he wore number 17, but everyone's going to be like, next Cam Chancellor? That's a lot to put on somebody.
He's not there. Him and Cam Chancellor are very similar. They both have a lot of injuries. They both were inconsistent, but I don't know. I don't see it. It's possible though. The right system.
He's big, but people don't remember is Cam Chancellor, why he was so inconsistent, did better in the NFL is he played free safety at Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
That dude built like a linebacker playing free safety.
He's probably one of my favorite Virginia Tech players just because I loved watching him play. That was so much fun to watch.
It was fun. He was I thought he was one of their better he was one of their better players, but like all the love went to Earl Thomas, rightfully so, I guess. But I felt like Cam Chancellor was just as important.
Oh yeah, he was a huge playmaker for that team. I mean, he destroyed people.
Oh,
he's probably the comparison to Sean Taylor.
Sometimes when I'm feeling down, I like to just look at the hit again on Vernon Davis.
Oh my God. Oh, and there's another former Washington player, Vernon Davis.
The Seahawks Legion of Boom reminds me of like the same, like the style play of same style, I guess, team analogy of like the Clippers with the Dunk City there, where you had all DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin, and the show they put on. Just like the Legion of Boom in Seattle was that deep. Like you turned on a game on a Sunday, like it didn't matter who Seattle was playing. If you're not a fan of them, you were watching Seattle defense ball out.
Yeah. Difference though is Seattle actually got the chip. The Clippers never made it to the Western Conference Finals.
That Seattle team really have 2 rings.
From an entertainment aspect, though, Legion of Boom, Dunk City.
But no, I agree, and that's a good segue into like the NBA. Speaking of like, and here's another question for you guys. Like, if you are like ever thinking about it, the Philadelphia 76ers are number 1 in the East right now. They did just beat the Jazz on some luck. We talked about that a little bit, Zane. The Jazz should have won that game. But do you think Doc Rivers can get the 76ers over the hump? Because like I just said, he never got the 76 or the Clippers to the Western Conference Finals. Can he do it with the 76ers?
I'm gonna say no. I don't think so. Not with that Brooklyn team now in the East. I don't see it happening. I think it's kind of unfortunate luck, bad luck for Doc Rivers there. I mean, to be honest, for his coaching staple with that Brooklyn team getting put together the way it is and coming together, and to be honest, even if Brooklyn didn't have all the talent, the stacked talent that they have, it comes down to 76ers, Milwaukee, who you like better in that one. We talked briefly about that, not too long ago about the stars comparison between those two teams. I don't know though. I still think I just haven't been able to buy into the 76ers just yet, even with the big win last week.
What about you, Justus? You buying the 76ers?
Sure, yeah. I think they got it.
I love it.
Take of the day. Yeah, sure. I think they got it.
Lock it in. Hammer it down.
Well, if you wanted to talk about that Brooklyn team, did you see any of the All-Star stuff, Justus, at all? Nope. Okay.
We're out of his wheelhouse at the moment.
Hey, it's all good. I'm definitely going to have a no-way parlay for these games.
Do you have any no-way parlays for footy, for soccer?
No. It's when I do it, it's usually like a same game parlay. And,
okay.
But I could give you one pretty quick, like off the top of my head. Pick Gundagan to be an anytime goal scorer for Man City. Pick the under on goals at 1.5. Let's see. I would take obviously I'd take Man City. I would take Man City on the money line. Take a draw because I said under 1.5 goals. So take the draw. No, don't do that.
0-0 shutout.
Yeah, that's what I would do. I'm not going to touch that game because I don't want to bet against my beloved Red Devils. But
what position does Gundagan play?
He plays that number 10 role for Pep Guardiola, that Messi. Well, not really. He doesn't play the same role as Messi because Messi played a false 9. But he plays that 10 role. He's similar to like an Iniesta, probably. I guess would be the better comparison. So he's in the middle of the field, and the reason I always pick him as like an anytime goal scorer is not because he's like a striker or something that's going to be putting in a bunch of goals, but he's always within the play. So like he's got the ball at his feet the most. So the chances of him having a goal are higher than someone who's just out in the wing, even though someone who's out in the wing might have more goals for the season.
Right. Gundagan anytime or under the 1.5 goals total. And then the draw, is that what you said?
No, Man City money line. Zane's trying to mess with you because if there's less than 1.5 goals, that means 1 or 0. But if you need Gundagan to score, that means at least 1. I think it's going to be 1-0.
Okay.
What would really be perfect world is Man United foul Man City in the box. Gundagan walk up and take a pen, and they win 1-0. That's.
I'm gonna, you know what, Matt? Just for you, I'm gonna lock that one in as soon as we get off this Zoom meeting.
I'm gonna be so mad if that hits because I never get.
Oh, please God, I don't ask for much.
Get us a tag there when you lock it in. Get us a tag on social media there. Hey, another nice value for tomorrow, EPL wise. Leicester versus Brighton. Leicester about a month and a half ago beat Brighton 1-0. Leicester's been struggling a little bit as of late, kind of sputtering a little bit. They've had some issues, injuries, things like that have popped up. But they're plus 185 money line against Brighton. I really like that pick tomorrow.
I'll take
really
that
like
too.
that. Really like that play tomorrow. So keep an eye on that one. Plus 185. Another one, Aventis money line against Lazio. We talked about McKinney and Cristiano.
I'll get you to text me these after we get done.
All right. Sounds good. But Aventis also nice value tomorrow on a money line play here. minus 120. So not much difference than doubling up your money there against Lazio, who, eh.
So what you're saying is parlay all of these into a parlay and just put a bunch of money into it. No, so it's funny. Like I know I shouldn't do parlays, but I honestly can't help it. And when we start talking about stuff like this, it gives me that itch. You know what I'm talking about? And it reminds me of that movie Uncut Gems, because I watched that movie probably 2 weeks after sports betting became legal in Virginia, and I get it. that scene at the end where he's
spoiler alert, listeners.
He's almost
spoiler alert for Uncut Gems.
Spoiler,
Feel free to
he's
leave.
almost home free. He's got the money. He can pay the guys off and save his life. He's like, nah, I'm gonna hammer it down in this parlay. Dude's literally sitting there sweating and shaking, and I'm like, bro, I get it.
You hear that, ladies and gentlemen? Life or death on the line. Justus is still hitting the parlay.
I'm the parlay, because why not? Why not?
Well, the problem is if you did a bunch of single bets and you hit them all, you're going to be disappointed that you didn't parlay them.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and I hate doing. I'll even go in and look at the stakes on each bet, and I'll put like $5, and you can win like 80 cents. But if they all hit, you can win like $150. I mean, it's night and day value.
That is true. But while we're also talking about soccer, Chelsea plays Everton this weekend. What are your early thoughts about that, Zane? Just so we can give Justus some more information. I just remembered that matchup as well.
Chelsea Everton this weekend. Look for Chelsea to sputter. Everton, my sleeper in the top 4 is going to pull out a draw against Chelsea.
You're just still mad that your top 4. I told Zane 2 weeks ago that Liverpool was falling out of the top 4 and Chelsea was going in. Liverpool has tailspun. They just played Chelsea this week and lost, and it did not look good. They only got one shot on goal, Liverpool, the defending champs. They did one shot, and it was a header straight to the goalkeeper's hands.
Liverpool winless in 5 consecutive home games now. Winless.
That's the first time in their club's history. And, you got to remember, these are soccer clubs. They're 200 years old. Well, 150 years old.
So what game was this? Chelsea and was it Everton? Is that what you said?
Everton. Yep.
And he's saying Chelsea pick Everton, but I would pick Chelsea. This is actually where we disagree. I would pick Chelsea. I think Thomas Tuchel has them playing too well right now. They're in the top 4. They can smell the blood. They got to get in top 4. They know that's where top 4 gets you into Champions League, and they really are going to probably fight for top 3 because the 4th spot's a playoff spot into the Champions League. They're looking for 3rd now.
I think I'll do Leicester. Chelsea double chance on that one. That sounds like a good Chelsea double chance.
Everton is a blue collar team. They grind it out.
No, you can't call it any team where someone just bought it and is pumping a bunch of money and building them talking about building a new stadium.
The way they play,
and call that a blue collar team.
The way they play, the way they grind these games out, the way they play, and are starting to gain a little traction here, retain right outside the top 4. They're gonna draw. Chelsea's gonna falter. Tuchel's gonna be frustrated and upset and throwing his hands, animated the whole game because his team's not executing in the final third like they have not been doing well of until this week. And Everton's gonna grind
I really
out.
wouldn't even say they've done good in their final third then either, to be honest.
Fair enough.
Not to interrupt you.
No, you're good. You're just backing up my point with that one. Everton's going to grind out a draw. I don't believe that at all, to be honest. You can cut this part out if you want, but I'm just saying that to hold true to my original pick. So
I'm keeping it in then.
and just to create a little drama aspect, keep arguing there.
Well, I mean, the only thing is Everton kind of likes to counter, and the way that Chelsea's set up with how they're so compact in the middle and they're just possessing it and they're not being very creative in the final third. I just don't see Everton creating enough chances and where Chelsea, it'll be similar to that Atletico Madrid game or this Liverpool game where they'll just get one of those chances is actually going to work right. And then
that's fair.
I would also take the under on 1.5 goals on that as well if that's
an option.
You want to think about this.
I just think that Everton, because they're they like to counter. They like to sit behind the ball. They grind it out, play a lot of defense. Chelsea has not been good in the final third. Everton's going to have to get a couple of breaks. Don't get me wrong, playing defense, a couple of nice saves or something, keep the ball out of the net. But I look to see that game in a draw.
Sucks to be a Liverpool fan right now. And so before Manchester City, a little history, Justice. Manchester City used to be a very irrelevant club until some oil money got pumped into there, and so Manchester United's biggest rival up until then. Well, they did have Arsenal as a pretty big rival in the early Premier League days, but Liverpool, man, like we hate Liverpool, and it's just so good seeing Liverpool be so terrible. It just feels great.
Oh no, I know exactly how you feel because that's how I felt seeing Dallas be so terrible this past season. Oh, that felt good. Seeing them have a one-legged quarterback was nice after all the one-legged quarterbacks we've had for the past 3-4 seasons.
It sounds terrible because it almost sounds like you're talking about injuries. Or you are talking about injuries. I know, you are, but it's almost terrible because like Alex Smith and Dak Prescott's injuries are both horrific.
Oh yeah, it was awful. But luckily Dak's. So what hurt Alex Smith is the infection. Other than that, he probably would have been fine. Yeah, but he got a really bad infection and almost lost his leg. He definitely deserved comeback player of the year. And I hate that he had to be a cap casualty, but it's a business.
I think it had to be done. I saw a bunch of people being like, "This is outrageous," but I'm like, what do you want them to do? Like, I would have been scared to even play him.
They weren't even going to play him, but we had to. Dwayne was awful. Kyle Allen got hurt, so he was the third man on the board. But the dude is a winner. I'll give him that. But we need a real stud at quarterback. That's the only thing that's going to really progress us forward. And I don't know if it's going to trade or draft. We might trade up for quarterback. I don't know. I don't think Ron Rivera wants to throw everything at a quarterback, but that's his biggest priority right now.
Yeah, and in Carolina, his best year was obviously when Cam had that MVP season. But other than that, even at Carolina, I don't think, because that's after that MVP season, not that Cam fell off a cliff, he slowly declined, but I think just taking a toll on his body, just the way he plays, he just slowly got worse and worse, and Carolina slowly got worse and worse. So he really, unfairly to him, I think he's a really good coach. I couldn't believe Carolina let him go, to be honest.
I think he's the perfect coach for Washington because he's the take charge type of coach that can change our whole culture. He can really be like a CEO. He can run the whole show. He did it last year. He can really run the whole show. And they did a good job of bringing in some experienced front office people. We actually have 3 former GMs in our front office now. We got Martin Mayhew, Marty Herney, and then, oh gosh, I can't remember the other guy's name, but he was a GM too. But yeah, we have a GM and then an assistant GM. We brought both of them on.
So you should draft well now.
We better. We lost Kyle Smith, who was director of player personnel, and he has had some good drafts. And a lot of Washington fans were mad because we let him walk. Basically, it's another young, talented football mind that Washington let walk. But he had good first round drafts, but a lot of his drafts were busts. Like Preston Smith, Darius Gaius, a lot of those guys were just complete busts.
I feel like Thomas Dimitroff. We got him from the Patriots, and we all know Bill Belichick. It's look at all the great players he drafted in the second, third round for the Patriots. It was yeah, because Bill Belichick does all the work over there. He struck out a lot.
Yeah, I think we've got some good talent evaluators at Washington. Bringing in guys like Terry McLaurin, Cam Curl, who's some other late round guys that we've brought in. Cam Sims, Steven Sims Jr. I think they've done a good job building a team. We really need the offensive pieces to match our defense. And we have a decent offensive line. We need a new left tackle. We need to re-sign Brandon Scherf. And then we need a our running backs have to be better at blocking. That hurt us a lot this past season. And I do think we need another tight end. Logan Thomas is really good, but he was literally our only tight end. And he was good. He wasn't the best blocker, but with not Kyle Smith, but with our offensive coordinator system, he likes to do the short passes. So we need the tight end to be a safety valve, and we need somebody that's not going to like give away the play. Because with Jordan Reed, I mean, everybody and their mother knew when he was in, we were passing the ball because he couldn't block. So we really need somebody that can do both.
But Logan Thomas, he reminds me like he could be like a Jimmy Graham for the Saints kind of like role. He couldn't block that well either. I mean,
Logan Thomas, he's not a great blocker, but he is a really physical player.
He's a willing blocker.
Have to take down, but he's really physical at the line of scrimmage. And that's what I like about him. I mean, Logan Thomas I'm so happy to see a Hokie stand out so much. I mean, the dude balled out last year. And I think he'll do the same this year. Do you guys have any like draft hopefuls for the Falcons? Like what's your best case scenario first round pick?
Well, we do need a corner. To be honest, we can pretty much draft anything on defense. We need an edge rusher. We could use another linebacker. I like Debo, but I'm not sold on I can't pronounce his last name. He's from Harvard. He's our other linebacker. He's fast and he's physical, but he's just not as good as Dion.
Right.
What about you, Zane? What are you hopeful for?
I think there's a need at running back for sure. Big need at running back. I don't think they'll use the fourth pick for it, but that's
you can get good value in the second, third round for running backs.
Yeah, I agree with that. So I'm looking at like second, third, fourth round area. Look for Falcons to make a move on a tailback for the future there. Probably a tailback to really come in and play substantial time, immediate substantial time, to be honest.
Yeah. Justus, we need a running back. We need a free safety. We need a corner.
Just run it down.
We need an edge rusher.
Well, I'll break it down by value. Obviously, your quarterback is going to have the highest value, then probably left tackle, and then probably pass rusher.
And then probably after pass rusher, corner, don't you think? Like a lockdown corner is so – when you can take someone's best option out of the game.
A lockdown corner is almost getting to the same level as a top-level pass rusher right now, in my opinion. With the way it's becoming such an offensively heavy league, I mean, a lockdown corner can do a lot of things for a defense. And I really think Caleb Farley will develop into a lockdown corner.
He has the physical tools.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't really see an official 40 time, like a real one. I saw something that was like on his Twitter page about like a 4.2 something, but like it was a dude with a stopwatch.
Give me those laser action.
I'm guessing his official time will be 4.36 when he does his pro day. Because they're not doing the combine, right?
No combine.
No, I mean, they invited people to the combine, but it's...
Yeah, it was more ceremonial than anything. I'm sad about that. I love watching the combine.
Me too, and it's so good because, like, you can – I don't know with FanDuel, but I know that you can do certain, like, prop bets on, like a certain player getting picked in, like, the first round, and they have different odds and stuff, like, if you're in Vegas. And the combine is so crucial to getting a value pick because, like, you could get someone right before the combine that's like maybe a sleeper pick to sneak into the first round, and then they just ball out in the combine, and everyone's like, yeah, he's a first round. Kind of like a DK Metcalf kind of thing. If you would have had DK Metcalf before his picture came out of him all ripped, and then he went to the combine, like, I bet no one would have thought he was a first round pick. And then he went to the combine, they're like, dang.
So wait, You're telling me that you can bet on the draft?
Yes.
But I don't know if FanDuel's gonna I meant like if like you're in Vegas, you can.
Let's take a look and see if there's any options.
Oh,
Like I'm sure there's odds for Trevor Lawrence going number 1, which I think is anyone disagreeing that he's going to go number 1?
No. But the number 2 pick, I think is it the Jets have the number 2 pick?
Yeah, it goes Jaguars, Jets. It's Houston, Atlanta? Maybe not Houston. Who's got the 3rd pick?
I can't remember. But dude, if you can bet on the draft, I would have so much fun with that. So last season, I watched every single draft pick that was aired on TV. Every single one. It was the first time I ever did it, and I loved it.
I love the draft until about like the 4th or 5th round, because the reason that I don't like it is because it's all hope trafficking. You're like, we got this value pick,
Yeah.
and then he never, not even special, like you cut him before, like.
Yeah, I mean, a couple years ago, Washington had the Mr. Irrelevant pick, and I thought he was going to be a stud for us, and he played a lot in his first season, but then he fell off so quick. I don't even think he's in the league anymore. Good old Trey Quinn out of SMU, Sunshine.
We could end this on something really fun, though. Who do you think, value-wise, not like best player ever, who is the best in your lifetime, because we're not going to go back and too far, in your lifetime, the best draft pick that Washington has ever had? And we'll do one for Atlanta. Value and stuff.
That's tough because Washington has had some horrible drafts. Dang. So it's tough because one of my first picks would probably be Trent Williams. He did play a lot of seasons in Washington. You also got to look at guys. You also got to look at Sean Taylor. You know, he probably could have been one of the best safeties to play the game. Rest in peace, Sean Taylor. Oh, man. See, that's tough because a lot of our greatest players we didn't even draft. I don't even think we drafted Art Monk or Gary Clark. I could be wrong about that. I know we didn't draft Clinton Portis. I know we didn't draft London Fletcher. Maybe Dexter Manley or Ryan Kerrigan. One of those guys would be a good pick. I mean, because, you know, Ryan Kerrigan obviously just broke the sack record that Dexter Manley held for like 10 years. Did we draft her? All right, so I'm going to give you a top. I'm going to give you a top 5. I'm pretty sure we drafted Joe Jacoby, Trent Williams, Sean Taylor, and Ryan Kerrigan. No specific order. It'd be hard for me to pick one. If you made me pick one, I would say Trent Williams.
Okay. I'll give you mine. Or do you go first, Zane? But the only reason is I have a little bit of recency bias, and I'm afraid we're going to pick the same person.
I'll immediately change my mental state at the moment.
Do you know who I'm just going to pick?
I kind of have a feeling, but I'll continue with the.
Well, no. Tell me what you thought I was going to pick, and I'll tell you if you're right or wrong, and then you can maybe.
You're saying recency bias? I mean,
yeah.
with that statement, top pick.
Because it's value. Remember, value
right.
pick.
Right. Value pick.
I would say Grady Jarrett, 5th round.
Yeah.
One of the best D. I think he's the second best D tackle behind Aaron Donald. The PFF numbers will grade that out as well.
Right.
He's one of the best. But that's who I was thinking in my recency bias because it was in the 5th round. He's the one in the Super Bowl that had like 3 sacks. He probably could have even maybe been Super Bowl MVP if we didn't blow the lead. Not to bring up 28-3 for the 3rd time.
So, I guess borderline. You said not going back before we were born
but
necessarily.
If you want to go further back, I just didn't want us talking about, somebody.
Right. So this is kind of off the wall. I think it's a guy that sometimes gets forgotten about for the Atlanta Falcons franchise. He's not necessarily a value pick because he did go 1st round.
Dion.
Not Dion. Keith Brooking. I guess you could say value because he's kind of underrated a little bit. I think he doesn't get talked about enough from what he did for his career and his standpoint. But Keith Brooking would be my draft value pick there. The Falcons with a pretty large impact in his time in Atlanta.
The reason I went with Grady Jarrett is just because I think we just literally got one of the best players at his position in the NFL in the 5th round.
Yeah,
can't beat that.
Yeah, no, not at all.
If we're talking about recency value picks, I got to go with Cam Curl. Say he was a 7th round pick, and he could have been in the running for Defensive Rookie of the Year, but there was so much hype around Chase Young.
Yeah, but Chase Young is a monster.
He's a bad dude. I'm excited for him to take another step because Montez Sweat took a huge step between his first and second season. So I think Chase Young will do that. It's going to be scary next year. If we get a stud linebacker and we'll get Landon Collins back, I think we could potentially move Cam Curl to free safety and have Landon Collins at strong safety, or maybe keep Cam Curl where he's at and then just move Landon Collins to a big nickel. It could be scary. It could be a disgustingly brutal defense.
I think you guys already have a pretty brutal defense. Personally, when the Falcons played. I know the last time we played Washington, it went pretty well for the Falcons. But usually, I just don't like playing the Washington defense. I feel like it's just gonna be a slugfest. I'm not worried about Washington scoring too much, but I'm not.
Nobody is, unless Taylor Heinicke's playing.
You guys did do the best out of any team in the playoffs against the Buccaneers. That's something to hang your hat on.
They didn't have Devin White or Vita Vea, and Devin White is a stud. I think he might be the fastest linebacker in the league.
I think Deion Jones might have a word to say about that, though.
Possibly, yeah. But Devin White was a machine out there.
Yeah, he was.
He's a machine. I want that type of line. I really think Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio want that type of linebacker. Because I think Cole Holcomb is really good, but he's not the type of just stud playmaker that they want. They had with Luke Kuechly.
Yeah, and a linebacker that could take out, cover a tight end and run with a tight end.
It's hard.
Super valuable.
Well, on that note, and that big yawn there, you guys, Justus, much appreciated, man. Thanks for
it's been a pleasure
coming on the show and being the first guest of the Payday Parlays podcast. We hope to have you back, especially a little bit closer there to NFL and college football season. Sounds like you could be a useful tool there for some picks coming down the stretch when that season rolls around.
Hey, man, I'm honored to be the first guest. And anytime you want me back on, I'd love to do it. I love just talking about football. So,
maybe we can have a draft party. That's what I was going to say. Maybe we have a draft party on the night of the draft.
Oh, now you're talking my language.
I like it. Well, it's been fun, guys. Matt, you want to close this out, man? What do you got for us?
Yeah, just make sure you rate and review. Give us 5 stars. That's always nice. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us at Twitter, Payday Parlays. Make sure you check out our website and subscribe for the email list for all our articles. I just wrote one on the analytics. We do have some coaching ones about to come out about the new NFL coaches, so you want to check that out. And make sure if you do check us out on YouTube that you subscribe. Give us a like button as well. It'll help us out. We appreciate it. And that's pretty much it, Zane.
Yeah, absolutely. Shoot us your picks. We want to see what you guys are playing each night too. Help us out because let's be honest, you don't want to take our gambling advice.
Yeah.
Why not? You might get lucky.
Kill if people are listening for our gambling advice. I want them to still listen.
I think you guys have some educated gambling, some educated plays.
At least I think we do like give a good background so you feel educated about our picks. Might not necessarily hit, but at least you felt like they knew what they were talking about.
We can sell it.
Yeah,
we can sell it. We can always sell
it.
Hey, Justus, former teammates, if me and you can sell loans the way we did back in the day, we could sell some sports picks, man.
If we can sell loans like that, we can sell anything.